To think about, fun to dream about. You could read articles in Collier's magazine by this German fellow named Werner von Braun about big space stations and things like that. But I knew that was science fiction, was not science fact. And all of a sudden, on October the 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union did something that changed everyone's outlook. They put up Sputnik. And it didn't do anything except go around the Earth. It was a basketball-sized satellite with 4 little trailing antennas, and it went around the Earth at about 350 miles altitude, and all it did was go beep, 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 beep. But when you interpreted that beep, 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 what that said was, look what the Soviet Union can do and what you can't. And so that turned on an effort that resulted in a very, very robust United States space program, and the need for a human space flight program, and the selection of Houston, Texas as the site for the Manned Spacecraft Center. I was very familiar with Houston because I had done my undergraduate work at Rice University here in Houston. I was a chemical engineer student, fully intended to go into the petrochemical business. Went back to northern Oklahoma, where I'm from, and went to the University of Tulsa for my master's degree in chemical engineering, specializing in petroleum design and refining. And actually went to work for a refining company in northern Oklahoma for just a very few months, when there was a competition amongst all the U.S. cities to see where the Manned Spacecraft Center should be located. And after a very detailed consideration of all of the cities that applied, that raised their hands and said, oh, we can do this, we can do this, there was a selection process put together by the United States Space Council, which was chaired by Lyndon Johnson from Texas, and its chief officer was a congressman whose name I could never remember when I try to talk about it, but he was the local congressman from Houston. And after a very complete but fair evaluation of all of the competing cities, Houston was selected. And Rice University may have been complicit because they donated the land. And when they found out that was illegal, they gave the land to ExxonMobil, who donated the land to the government. So this stuff's been going on forever. But when I heard about that, I said, I've got to be part of this. I called them up and said, I'm the world's best chemical engineer, and have you got something for me? And they said, well, we might. Why don't you come on down? So my wife and I and a little 4-month-old brand new little girl came down here in the middle of May 1962 and been here ever since. And so that's 56 years and counting. For me, they did quit paying me in 1998, and I went to work for contractors for a number of years, primarily working in education outreach kinds of things. And then about 5 years ago, I just said, hey, I'm tired of coming to dumb meetings and writing activity reports, and I'll just do whatever you want for me at no cost, unless I don't want to. And so they said, that sounds good. So that's the agreement we've got now. But I rarely have a conflict where I can't come down. And Margaret is always, and LiftOff is always at the top of my list. And you'll be back in a couple of weeks with some students